I was reading a Bank of America note this morning, which highlighted how since 1973, 7 instances of past US recessions, Asian markets ex Japan have fallen 50% on average during these periods.
Yeah.
So if we do hit a recession, you are not saying it will, but if it does happen, then there is still some pain to go for equity markets in Asia, going by history.
Absolutely. So cyclically, I wonder, how that 1/4 of the world economy slipped into recession in a tiny economy such as ours, avoid any backlash.
Yeah.
It's just that, if US persist with tight financial conditions, it could become a balance sheet event for many emerging markets. What you see in Sri Lanka and Pakistan is just a step or two away from even rather robust economies such as China and India. So you have a hawkish policy surprises, which is not my base case, but if they do over next 1 year, we pretty much have a GFC-like setup originating in India and many such EMs. So I'm saying I say that a recession is a mild good case for us because the alternate actually is pretty bad. If it's 1980s, or 90s, we pretty much end up, in an Asian financial crisis of sorts, which for emerging market turned out to be significantly worse than the GFC. GFC is a mild event for India, if you recall.
Yeah.
But if you were living in Thailand and Indonesia or Malaysia,
In 97.
that generation, couldn't recover from the losses of Asian financial crisis. So I wonder if, that is what is going to unfold for us. But I think and I hope it won't, which is why recession is good.
So India kind of relatively did better back then too, about 25 years ago, Maneesh. My question about whether the relatively better macros, as you alluded to, and the forex reserves, so on and so forth, do help India weather a slightly more difficult macro scenario slightly better, or you don't think so?
We do to a certain extent, but late 90s we were far too small. We were
True.
less financialized. Of course, relatively less debt. Private sector debt, especially in household, was pretty much non-existent. And so to that extent, basically, if you live in a forest, whatever happens to US, it makes no difference to you. So I'm not saying that, of course, we were a forest.
Yeah.
We were a rather tiny and unconnected of sorts, disconnected economy, and miracle economies of Asia. I'm not saying that today also, our external debt is reasonable. We have a fair amount of reserves. We've learned a lot from, Asian crisis, and to that extent, our macro is rather robust. So I'm not thinking that, that is a base case. Since you're forcing me to think of that, we're discussing it, but I think we will still do well. We are significantly better than the 2013 setup. So of the fragile kins that we became part of, I don't think, that's out there for us unless crude sort of hits $150, $160. Then all bets are off for India.
That's true.